Okay, well, as promised or maybe threatened, here's your quick video about my Raspberry Pi. One warning I want to give out before I get too carried away here is I had all intentions of maybe moving this so we had a little better camera angle. That didn't happen, and part of the reason was this is one of the things I've liked best about my Raspberry Pi, is this is indeed my work area. It's sitting right here on the end of the coffee table, right here at my command center. I'm going to pan over here and show you real quick. My computer sits right here. This has just been one of the nicest things about it for me, is the position I've been able to set in, work on it. It's been not in the way. I'm able to tinker with it just 5 minutes at a time, and that's really been one of the big things to it. So this is probably going to be the worst quality video you've ever seen, and I guess mostly I just wanted to document some of this for my own self. As you can see, the breadboard's getting pretty confusing. It's about time to tear some of these projects down and start into something else. I have a servo motor and a stepper motor coming, so I'm going to be messing with that next. It's about time to tear all this down and take it from there and start some more projects, tear these down. Wanted to document for my own good here just a little bit what I've done so far. Okay, so with that being said, obviously one of the first things you have to do is set up your work environment. And as you can see here, the Raspberry Pi comes complete with SSH daemon already running. So here's my command prompt, and this is just running through PuTTY. I also have a Windows SCP running right here. One of the nice things about Windows SCP is I can bring up my text editor. And I'm not sure if you're going to be able to actually see the code there, but that's my first little test program to get that LED running, and was able to do that right through here, right sitting at my command center. And as you can see, if I come over here to my command prompt and type in sudo python test, and as you can see, my first test program just simply flashes that LED a few times. Nothing real spectacular there, but quite an accomplishment in itself when you figure what all it's actually doing. Alright, so we're just going to let that finish its run. Okay, and there it is. So then the next thing I wanted to do was put a little bit of a front end on that. And thankfully, said if I figure out how, I'll be sure to give credit down below. But I was able to follow an instructable by a man named TheFreeElectron. And TheFreeElectron had this web page designed for just exactly the purpose I was wanting. And again, this is just a web page running on my local network. The Raspberry Pi is running a web server. It could easily be Apache. I'm running light TPD, and that may have been a mistake. But at any rate, now I have it where if I simply click on one of these red buttons here, and I'll show you over on the computer, and as I do that back over here, you can see that now turns on the LED. So I now have the LED controlled by a web interface. Back behind there, you'll see the little blue thing. This is a little four-channel relay board, and it's the same thing. Now over here on position 1, and that, as you might be able to hear, trips that relay. So that could be controlling quite a bit of power. That could be controlling mains power, and there's actually 4 of them. There's only one of them hooked up right now, but that could easily be 4. That could easily be a lot of things. And one of the keys to that is that relay is running on 5 volts. The Raspberry Pi is running on 3.3. Actually, there's already 5 volts at the coil, so what it really needs is sync to ground. And there's an NPN transistor, and that's actually what's controlling that. So that was actually quite a bit of fun on the breadboard, getting that to work. Okay, my next little thing I have here, and any of these pieces of software could actually be running in the background as a Linux service. Okay, this next little piece of hardware here is I got this from I believe Adafruit, and it just functions as a momentary switch. Okay, I got the key fob here, the receivers over here, and these last two buttons just simply work as a momentary switch and toggle those LEDs off and on. That has absolutely nothing to do with the Raspberry Pi right now. However, if I hit B, it does now connect to the Raspberry Pi and through this piece of software that I have running over here, and it will cycle that LED through several different states. I can turn it on, make it blink faster, or turn it off. Again, on, blink, rapid blink, or off. Again, a lot of fun getting that circuit wired up and the software to get it to do all that. Lastly then, this last pin, and again, for any of you Linux people, this actually calls out a completely separate program, which is kind of redundant for Linux, but it was still kind of fun to do and a fun skill to have. When I hit this A button, what it's going to do is it's going to cycle that LED again, just like it did before. Notice there's only one key press. It's automatically running it through all of its cycles. Rapid blink. However, now what this one's done just a little bit different is now the program's going out and sending a text message to my cell phone. It hasn't arrived yet, but it should be. There it is. And what that did there in the meantime was that went out to a website called forecast.io and sent me a text message with the weather conditions for the next hour. I have had a lot of fun with my Raspberry Pi. I hope the video didn't make you too sick. I said it just kind of wanted to serve as some documentation for what I've done so far. So if you watched it this far, congratulations, and thanks for watching. Bye.